What's up? Welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create an amazing Amapiano beat which is a little bit inspired by Afro beats. So I'm going to show you how to create a modern Amapiano beat. So first I'm going to show you how to create the drums, add a pad, add the melodies, add the log drum, and show you some essential tricks which you need to know when it comes to mixing and building a full beat. So let's get started. So for this project I've added multiple drum layers, and I'm using the drums from my upcoming African producer bundle. Maybe if you're watching the video, it will be out already. So first we're going to start off by creating the beat in 114 beats per minute. This is a higher BPM as you would normally use for creating Amapiano beats. So first we're going to start off with a kick. So I'm going to pick this one, which already contains some high frequencies. So first we're starting off with this kick rhythm. So make sure you play around with the velocity to add a lot of groove. And then I'm already going to add a shaker loop because this one is already defining the rhythm of your Amapiano beat. So you want to make sure you pick a shaker loop which is already ready to use. So I've added 60 new shaker loops and I'm using shaker loop 53. Which is a unique shaker loop, probably you haven't heard it before. So right now when you want to create a beat which is especially inspired by Asake, you want to add a lot of percussions. So we're picking a percussion from the percussion folder. So this will be the first rhythm. So first we're layering it with the kick drum to add another dimension when it comes to the groove. Then we're adding percussion 32. And we're adding this at every second step. And on this percussion, I've also added some reverb. So most of you people leave all the percussions dry. And I think by adding just a simple reverb, you add a lot of dynamics to your drum loop. So for now, we've added kind of soft percussion. So right now we want to add a percussion which contains some more attack and mid frequencies. Sounds maybe like a rim. So I'm using percussion 38. And I've also added reverb on this percussion. Still very straightforward. Then I'm starting off by layering some unique rims, and then I'm just playing around with the key of the sample. So right now we're step by step defining the drum loop, and then we're adding another layer. Then we're adding this rim, which contains a lot of high frequencies. And then we're going to add some percussions which contain frequencies around 200 Hz. So they're not colliding with the kick, but add mid frequencies. Then we're adding another layer. This one is not playing a regular rhythm, but again, you want to make it not that quantized, not that simple. So just play around with the position like this. And this one is just a good fit in this case. And then we're going to add some percussions which contain high frequencies. Right now we've added a lot of percussion, which make sure we add lows and mids. And right now it's time to add percussions which contain more high frequencies. So for example, this whistle, this one. So shorten up the sample. So that's it, very simple. Now we add a simple shaker. We just take shaker 17 on the second beat, which is pretty much in the background. And that's it when it comes to the main rhythm of our drum loop. And of course you want to add some swing to make sure it doesn't sound that quantized. So in this case I've added 21% of swing. So the next step is to add a pad, which is very typical when it comes to creating an Amapiano beat. So in this case I've used Xpan 2 and I've used the Wind Rider preset, which you can find under Bright Pads. And then I've created this kind of bandpass filter to make sure just some frequencies are coming through. So it's very dark. So for now, make sure you pick the right key for the beat. So this beat was created in B minor natural. And in this case, when it comes to those simple pads, which play just one note, make sure you pick the root note, which is the easiest way. So like this. A very simple layer, but I think when it comes to an Amapiano beat, a very effective layer. And we're going to use this one in the intro of the beat. So next up, we're going to define the melodies of this beat. So right now, I'm going to add some keys. And if you're a beginner or you want to create simple beats, some keys are often used in Afro beats. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. So in this case, I've used a new plugin, which I don't use that often, which is called the Addictive Keys Mark 1 Crystals preset. So a very bright key. So right now, let's start off very simple by using the root note B. Then 1 octave up, we're going to use B again. So we're going to use B, D, and then let's use F. And then let's copy this one over. And let's say we're going to transition from B to D and drag this one down to A. And right now it has to go something like this. So we're going to copy this over. The next note available after B is A. So right here. I think I'm going to pitch this one down. This one is not in the scale. So let's say it's C. And then the next available note is G, but that's not working out very well. So let's pick F. And then I'm using this D, G, B chord. And then of course, as I always tell you, use option S to strumize this melody. This is a trick which is often used. Then I'm going to press option R and randomize the keys the way I prefer it. But I would also recommend you make some manual tweaks. So I've applied some manual tweaking and right now it sounds like this. So right now you want to add another layer and you want to keep it interesting and still surprise the listener. So I think an orchestral layer is a very good fit for this beat. So I'm using the Session Strings Pro 2 on sustain. And right now it's time to play around with this layer. So let's say we start off at D. So this blends very, very well. So let's add a B right here. And then we're going to create a simple melody. So let's say we pick F. I think A will be the next one. And this is just too simple because those are the same notes. So I'm going to adjust it to A. I think right here a C is a good fit. But right here, this is also too simple. So I'm going to adjust it to G. And let's add a D again right here. So it transitions back to this B. And then of course, you want to make sure you play around with the individual notes of this melody to add some more dynamics. So in the end, it sounds like this. And then we want to add a bass line or a sub bass. So I'm using the Mini V. I'm using the Ultra Sub preset, which is just a simple saw bass. So that's sort of a B, D. I think A is a good fit. And let's say G. So as you can see, I've reused the notes from my original chord progression. And this makes it way easier to, in the end, add a bass line without having to mess around for minutes. Just reuse the notes. You can't go any wrong with that. And then I'm adding another orchestral element. And I'm using the Violas Essential from Contact 7. And the articulation is on Spicatto. So it's a very snappy string. And most of the times in Amapiano, a wind boot is used from X-Band, but in this case, let's switch it up. So adding this one at every second beat. As you can hear, it's coming in too late because the sample is starting a little bit later. So we have to adjust the timing manually. So just zoom in and you could, for example, select line or none, doesn't matter. And then you simply just drag it forward a little bit. Right now it matches up perfectly. So when it comes to the melodies, that's it for this beat. So right now we move on to the next part of the tutorial, which is adding the log drum. But before I'm gonna add the log drum, I just want to mention my new course. So I've just launched a new course, which is called the Producer Business Formula. And this is a course that will teach you everything about how to run a business in the music industry. So if you're a producer, if you're a musician, and you want to learn how to sell samples, or you want to learn how to sell beats, this is a course for you. So this is basically a 6-step producer cheat sheet, which will prevent you from making the same mistakes which I already made in the past. So if you may be interested in the course, make sure to check out the link in the description. So that's enough talking about this. Let's move on with the tutorial. So I'm using the Fruity DX10 for adding the log drum, and I'm using log drum preset 5 from the Amapiano Paradise drum kit. But if you're a Mac or Ableton user, I've also sampled all these log drum samples in the Amapiano Paradise drum kit. So if you want to check it out, make sure to check out the sample pack. For the log drum, we're going to copy over the exact same notes as the bass line, and we shorten it down to half a step. And let's start off right here. We boost the volume all the way up. Should be something like this. Then we're creating something like this, and then I'm going to adjust the velocity right here. I'm going to pitch it down 1 octave. So I'm going to keep the log drum as simple as possible for now. And then we're layering this log drum with the bass line. And then most of the cases after you've added the log drum, you should add a snare, which is a complement to the log drum. So basically another addition. So I'm using snare 26 from the Amapiano Paradise drum kit. And then I'm making sure I play around with the dynamics. I'm making sure it blends very well together with the log drum. So that's it, another layer which you could use in the main part of the beat. And then you could, for example, add some more crashes. Just to add some more energy to your drum loop. And then without having to repeat the crashes all over again during the whole beat, I've added this cowbell. So this one with some reverb. And in the arrangement, I'm using this one to just keep it interesting. And I'm using this in 1/3 step. So select 1/3 step right here using the magnet. And then I'm just dividing those 2 steps at the end into 3. So that's basically this rhythm, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So right now let's move on to the full beat. So in the full beat, I've made some more tweaks. So the first thing we'll just switch up is the chord progression, so the keys. So we've basically pitched down this F5 to F3, that's it. And this way we're making the chord progression interesting during the arrangement. And I also applied the same trick for the log drum. So we're starting off at B3, and when I'm switching up the chord progression, I'm also switching up the log drum from B3 to B2. And a crucial tip when it comes to mixing this beat is linking all your drums to one bus channel right here. And then I'm widening up the drums using the stereo separation tool, using the Pro Q3. Then I'm using some saturation to make sure the drums blend very well together. And we're creating some more headroom in the end. And then I'm using another transient control to make sure we're reducing any peaks. And on the melodies, I, for example, applied the exact same trick and just added some saturation, just to make sure all the sounds sound stable and at the same level during the whole arrangement or the whole beat. And of course, to make it more interesting, I've added some panning to all of those samples. So it's not all playing on mono in the middle, but they're just playing around on the sides in the stereo spectrum. And this way you're separating the samples, and this way in the end will get you a clearer mix, which is very easy to apply. And then in the new sample pack, I've added some amazing new drum rolls and new up and down lifters. So basically added 2 types. So first this one. And then I've created this up and down lifter, which is very similar to the overused up and down lifter in Amapiano. So it sounds like this. So that's for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out the producer business formula. The link will be in the description. And also make sure to check out the African producer bundle. The link will also be in the description. And if you want to listen to the full beat, the link will also be in the description. So that's it. Enough talking, and let's listen to the final result.